At some point in our lives, after we've gone through the same ups and downs, repeating similar patterns in our relationships, getting triggered by the same old hurts, and reacting in the same explosive ways that make us feel guilty for expressing ourselves, we come to the realization that behaving in the same ways will always create the same scenarios we so desperately try to avoid. That's when we take a step back, question everything we believed in, and open up to newer way of doing things. At this specific point, our hurts have become so intensified that we are actually willing to let go of those aspects of ourselves that we now realize have held us back for our entire lives. Within each one of us, there are layers of memories, emotions, and beliefs. Being human and going through the human experience on this planet in this specific dimension means that we will be challenged in some way. It's the rule of the game we chose to play. Unfortunately, the vast majority of people here are not self-aware. That includes parents and most of the children they bring into this world, which in turn turn into other parents. Of course, evolution is beautiful. Every step forward is an incremental improvement in the grand scheme of things. Because most people are not self-aware when it comes to dealing with our personal challenges, the norm is to escape from our feelings and thoughts and pray that somehow, someday, everything naturally gets fixed. When we are younger, because of our higher levels of energy, we think that nothing has a consequence. As we grow up, however, the experiences we have not processed and digested turn into thick layers in our subconscious mind. What are these layers made of? They're made of all our hurts, our pain, our guilt, our embarrassments, our fears, our anger, etc. In turn, those create our thoughts, and in turn, again, those thoughts create our range of motion. How much we believe we can do in life, thus how much we actually do. But here's the thing. We rarely see this. In fact, we don't for the most part. Ask anyone what they would like to get in their lives and they would list you a whole scroll of desires only a genius in a bottle could fulfill. Next, ask them what their plans are to make at least one of their goals happen, and they would list you another scroll of reasons why they can't do a thing about it. For some it's the government, for others it's the climate. In some rare cases, it's true, some outer force may slow us down. In most cases, however, either we are not realistic with what we would like to accomplish, or overcoming seemingly unsurmountable obstacles is directly linked to one of our life lessons. But to know that, we need to be self-aware. To know that our thoughts may be the very limit to the kind of actions we take, we need to be self-aware. To know that our emotions, the ones we have accumulated throughout our whole lives, generate the kind of thoughts we entertain, which in turn act as a barrier to how far we believe we can go in life, we really need to be self-aware. Learning about this process can be done through books or videos. Yes, most people do so in this manner. Unless you see it happening in yourself, however, this data that your brain is processing right now and storing in your memory remains intellectual, and that won't bring the transformation we are looking for. The kind of transformation that feels like shedding old skin, being reborn, and living as a whole new person. To make that happen, we need to develop our awareness about ourselves. This is not something you need to learn through directives or through a blueprint. You know what it is. You have experienced it many times. The reason I'm making a video about it is because I very often receive questions surrounding introspection and self-awareness. I remember being a bit confused about it once too, and also trying to approach it from my intellectual perspective, which is a hindrance to this process. There is no ideal way of doing it. It's a personal experience. I remember being confused when I had to deal with unresolved issues from my past. What was I supposed to do? Where was I supposed to look for answers? Could someone hold my hand and help me figure this out? The truth is, you will have to do it on your own, and it's great that way. Why? Because once you learn to pull yourself out of such confusing periods in your life, your resilience as a person will develop. You will welcome opportunities for growth with arms open, and the more you do, the quicker you grow. But we can still be strategic about it, especially when we are dealing with major patterns in our lives we would like to heal. I want you to envision the person we believe to be as a dense rock. This rock has been formed over many years. At first it was in a lava state, but as we went through different experiences, the emotions and beliefs those experiences created cooled this lava and turned it into the dense rock it is today. This dense rock is what makes us feel heavy in our lives, as if we are always dragging some dead weight, and to some extent we are. Now, think about every single one of your spiritual practices, whether it is meditation, Reiki, praying, introspection, and so on, as being small hits on this rock. Through spiritual practices, what we are basically doing is bringing in higher energies down into this rock form of stagnating energies. And this is why consistency is critical when it comes to evolving as a soul. Over time, these hits combine and compound. They gain momentum, the kind of momentum that is required to tackle this heavy energy and the layers of the self it creates, which in turn generate the blockages in our lives. Only in releasing these thick layers will we be able to die to the old and embrace the new, where all these dreams of ours aren't dreams anymore, but tasks on our to-do list. Now, I hope that all this is very nice and clear, but when it comes to you, what can you do about it? Don't worry, I got you covered. First, learn to pay attention to your thoughts and reactions. Again, you know how to do this. Notice that I said learn to do it. This implies make it into your second nature. Just pay attention to what is happening inside yourself as often as you can. Don't go crazy with this. Relax and do it as a fun thing. 2. Once some patterns in the form of repetitive thoughts or reactions get your attention, note them down. Use a journal or your phone. Just note these patterns. As an example, if you're studying for an exam, do thoughts of failing the exam keep popping up? Perhaps those thoughts distract you and maybe even make you lose your enthusiasm for studying, which makes you lose your focus, and eventually it happens. Your fears become self-fulfilling prophecies. Just note it down and remain cool-tempered. Keep going. 3. Look at the bigger picture. Eventually, as you keep noticing the patterns in yourself, you will be slowly putting the pieces of the puzzle together. Use your notes to look at the construct of your psyche from different angles, and after some time doing this, a bigger picture should paint itself. Some memories from your childhood may randomly come up at this stage. Sometimes it happens in dreams while you sleep. You may get insights on the situation you're dealing with. 4. At this stage, it's okay to discuss your discoveries about yourself with people you trust, whether it is your therapist, friend, or spouse. Express yourself about it. If you become emotional, try channeling your feelings through art if that's your thing. If art is not your thing, turn your experiences into something others could benefit from. This is what I do through writings or through this video as an example. How we process our emotions largely depends on us, on our personality, and on how much we know ourselves. Again, it is a personal experience. Also, here are a few things to keep in mind. Most of the time we don't realize that the person we are right now is the very obstacle to the person we want to be. And that's because we have identified with this person for our whole life. In order to see it for ourselves, we must pay attention to what is happening within ourselves. That's how we naturally disentangle ourselves from this thick layer. Once we understand why and how this person we used to be operates, we won't resonate with this version of ourselves anymore. When you go this deep within yourself, it's essential to give yourself the necessary space to let things settle. Needing more sleep or more food, maybe taking a few days off, relaxing, doing fun things. Those are all recommended during such times of transformation. It's true that through this process we may feel like we are losing something, and indeed we are, but for our own growth in the long run, and the benefit of others because we now have better things to offer. Maturing as a person is why we're all here. It's okay to change and evolve as a person. You are not giving up on anyone. Quite the contrary, you are loving others even more because you want to give them the best of yourself. I hope this video brought you some clarity on the subject of self-awareness and how to do introspection in a way that promotes your advancement as a soul. If you have questions, put them in the comments. Thank you for watching. Likes, shares, subscribing are all appreciated. Love.